ESPN.
Yes, it is. It is Carlin. It is 98.7 ESPN. It is 800-919-3776, 800-919 ESPN. Hoping you enjoyed your holiday weekend. We finally know what and who Sam Darnold is. And that is where we begin tonight. We'll get into Adam Gase if we must. I feel like at times we're contractually obligated with as bad of a coach as he is. It's almost like I'm doing you a disservice if we don't talk about Adam Gase and how awful it is and how just utterly ridiculous it is at times. We'll get into all of that, but we will also spend some time on the New York Giants and the situation with Daniel Jones and what it all means and what it actually means for the future of someone else that's very important in this organization. At Chris Carlin over on Twitter, by all means, join us there. So, finally, the Jets get Sam Darnold with all of his weapons. Of course, they're down to their third string tackle. Of course, they're going to sit Alex Lewis down because he told the coach to go you know where last week. That's all fine. But they get him to work with all of his weapons. And I get it. Hasn't been very long. Maybe unfair to judge. Maybe not, though. Because I think those three words, unfair to judge, carry a new meaning in the NFL now. They carry no meaning. That's the new meaning. Everybody gets judged every day, and they get judged by one thing, and that's simply results. And we could talk about, as we have ad nauseum, all the different reasons why Sam Darnold has not had a fair shot here in New York and has not been able to prove himself to be the ultimate franchise quarterback for the New York Jets. But the fact is, he hasn't proven that he's the ultimate franchise quarterback for the New York Jets. So I was thinking about it today. How do you judge somebody like that? So you go back through and you look at winning quarterbacks over the last 15 years or so. And they really fall into three different categories. And these are quarterbacks, when I'm defining winning, they're guys who have been to Super Bowls. Fair? I think so. You have your Bradys, your Mannings, your Mahomes, your Russell Wilson, your Aaron Rodgers types, your John Elways, your Troy Aikmans, going back even further, guys who are dynamite franchise quarterbacks and Hall of Fame players, and there's never any doubt about what their standing was, what their standing will be in the future. It will always be revered for who they were. And by the way, when I'm talking about Manning, I'm talking about Peyton. Then you have the next level, the Eli Manning. So yeah, won 2 Super Bowls. Not an all-time great quarterback, though. Pretty darn good one. You've got guys like Cam Newton, who has won an MVP in the league. You've got guys like Kurt Warner, who won MVPs in the league. You've got guys like Matt Ryan, who won an MVP in the league. But they haven't been able to do it over the long haul. Jared Goff might be in that group. At some point, he's gotten a team to a Super Bowl. And then you've got the third group. This is the group where Sam Darnold fits. The group where everything has to be just right to go and have success. It doesn't mean that you're Trent Dilfer, okay? It doesn't mean you have an all-time great defense and that's why your team is winning. It doesn't mean you're Jim McMahon. What it does mean is that you fall into the category of somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo last year, of somebody that had a great defense, had playmakers on offense, and could win games as a result. You fall into the category of a guy like Jake Delhomme, who took the Carolina Panthers to a Super Bowl and was a great story, but he was average at best over the entirety of his career. You've got the Brad Johnsons of the world. You've got the Kerry Collins. You've got the Chris Chandlers, the Neil O'Donnells, the Stan Humphreys. This is where it feels like Sam fits. Because I don't think there's one of us who would really disagree with the notion that we think that if he's given the proper weapons to work with, Sam could go win. And if he's got a really good team around him, Sam could potentially take a team to a Super Bowl. I think we know that the ability is somewhere in there, even though we have only at times seen very small flashes of it. But you watch a game like yesterday, where he does have playmakers and you see a flash or two, and you can see, I would argue more so, you can see where Denzel Mims is going to be a great receiver more than you can see that Sam's going to be a great quarterback. You can see Mims go up and attack the football and go try to make plays for his quarterback. You see Sam trying to make plays, but he ends up throwing interceptions, decisions that he knows, frankly, are bad. And those decisions, they still rear their ugly heads. So my conscience is clear about where all of this is headed, and yours should be too. We're all in the same boat of rooting for the Jets to get the #1 overall pick. Tankathon 2020 in full effect. If the whole year's going to go down the crapper, the whole season should for the Jets anyway, and hopefully, well, this is not the way to put it, on the other end, Trevor Lawrence is sitting there waiting for you. At the very least, there is something to look forward to. Trevor Lawrence can be one of those all-time great quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence can be on that level with Mahomes and Manning and Russell Wilson and all those things. He's got that kind of talent and ability. If you're here to tell me about how the Jets are going to ruin him too, take it elsewhere. This coach isn't going to be the coach. And the second you have that mentality, you've already given up. You're not looking at the facts. The facts of having 10 picks in this upcoming draft, including 2 1s, a 2, and 2 3s, and a couple more in the 5th round. They have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. You can get a lot done right there. They have a ton of money to spend in free agency. You can get a lot done there. If you have all of that and Trevor Lawrence, all of a sudden it's a turnaround that can happen within 2 to 3 years. And you can be right on the doorstep pretty shortly and have that to look forward to. And part of it is Sam. Part of it is making sure that the ability that he has doesn't go unrecognized by other teams. And it won't. A team like the 49ers will look at him and say, this guy is a better option even than Garoppolo, even than what we have, because we know that with the likes of Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and Kittle when he's healthy and all those guys, that Sam can go out there and win football games for them when they're going to have a very good defense in the future. This is what Sam is. He is in this 3rd tier of quarterbacks, not the atrocious quarterbacks. No, he's in the tier of quarterbacks that can win when everything is just right. That's not the tier you necessarily want to be in, but you can make a living doing it. You can absolutely make a living doing it. And that's what Sam's going to be doing. It's going to be elsewhere, though. Can we be clear on that? For all you Darnold truthers, it's time to let go. It's time to understand that he is not the best option for the future of this franchise. And please, please, I know how much you've been hurt. I understand that. Understand that at some point, the tide is going to turn. You saw it turn with Rex the first couple of seasons. And yes, then it got away from you. It didn't quite get over the hump. You're talking about the ability to bring in a lot of quality players, including a franchise quarterback, in the truest sense of the phrase, and being able to do it in a short period of time. 800 919 3776. 800 919 ESPN. Open lines, me and you, next couple hours. Abbreviated show tonight. We, of course, also have the live stream up and running. That is at ESPN New York's Twitter, at ESPN New York 98.7's Twitter handle, and also ESPN New York's Facebook page, my YouTube page as well. We have tweeted those all out within the last little while. And guess what? I'll retweet them again because you want to see me. I, tonight, look particularly unkempt. It's Carlin on 98.7 ESPN. We hit your calls next at 800 919 3776.
Are seeing the benefits of clean energy.
All right, guys, in the video stream, what's up? You can make comments, check them in. Johnny D'Angelo, would you be a better coach than Adam Gase? I probably would be. Yeah, that's right. I believe I would be. Let's see. He's no George Carlin. No, I am not. I'm getting tired of being asked if I'm related. Of course I'm not related. Silly. Anyway, good to see you guys. Glad you're with us. And, fired up to get going here. So let's let it loose. Jarv checking in. What's up, brother? Good to see you as always. I was out in the Midwest this week for the Rutgers-Purdue game the other day. And let me tell you something. They don't believe that the pandemic even exists. It was amazing. You have signs on stores that you walk into, and on those signs it says, don't come in if you don't have a mask. You walk in, the people working in the store don't have masks on. This is in Indiana. It wasn't everywhere, but it was a hell of a lot more places than it was here. And I've got too many people here who are coming down with it right now. It's absolutely insane. My old partner down in Philly, Ike Reese, announced today that he's got COVID, but he's doing okay. Great guy. Great guy. Anyway, fire away with any comments, questions, whatever you want. We'll hit them. All right, so let's do it. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN, 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. Also on Twitter, at Chris Carlin, and of course, the video stream as well, as we mentioned, over on ESPN New York 98.7's Twitter handle and on ESPN New York's Facebook page. Let it fly. Vamonos. Justin in Cedar Grove is going to start us off tonight on 98.7 ESPN. Justin, what's cooking, brother?
Chris, how are you, buddy?
I'm outstanding. How you doing?
I'm all right. Would have to agree with you in terms of Darnold. Hey, one thing about Mims, who does he remind you of? What former Jet in terms of size and speed and that downfield presence? I want to see if you think like me. Former Jet from about 30 years ago. What do you think?
Altoon?
Very good. Home run for you already, right out of the gate.
Yeah, I think he's bigger physically than Altoon, but he is. You want to say he's that kind of player? Hey, I'd sign up for him to be Altoon immediately. I think it'd be a great sign for the Jets. And listen, you can watch him. You know what, Justin? You can watch Mims go up for these footballs, and even the one that he didn't catch down at the goal line, he gives you a chance. Like, you can see everything you need to see right now from Denzel Mims. As long as he can stay healthy, he can be a tremendous receiver.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a little early, but you see the effort, you see what he has in terms of potential, and then you look at Quentin Williams is playing lights out right now. Becton is doing very, very well. So
you have to feel good about the drafts. I mean, even Bryce Hall has played pretty well.
Yeah.
Bryce Hall's done a really good job.
Yeah, Hall I've been kind of itching to see. I know he was hurt for a while, but he was a guy at Virginia that was projected high, and then I think he got hurt and found his foot in the draft a little bit. But you look at those guys. For years, I would never trust anyone on the Jets to make any draft pick. I mean, history kind of proves that. But moving forward, having all these draft picks, and they've hit on a few, but in terms of Darnold, you know, he made his name in that Rose Bowl against Penn State, and then after that, it was kind of an okay career. But the biggest knock on him was turnovers, and clearly that's been the consistent theme with him. And, you know, when he drops back, rarely do you see him just plant his foot and just drive it. It's always a scramble, a rollout, maybe a bad decision. I really have no issue with them. Just, you know what, it's time to move on. However, my fear as a Jets fan, as always, if they either win a game or two, or Lawrence stays in college, or something happens where we don't end up with them. That's the life of being a Jets fan, though.
All right, so with that in mind, and thanks for the call, I get it. I absolutely get it. You're worried about what this is going to look like, about winning a game the rest of the way. We'll get to why that's not going to happen in just a little while, but I just want to give you, I got to get a liner made or something, you know, the big announcer voice saying, Tankathon update. Brian, let's see if we can get that with some dramatic music. Because this week, Jacksonville has, they make a trip to Minnesota, who won that game yesterday. Then they have Tennessee at home, at Baltimore, Chicago at home, at Indianapolis. The best shot here is going to be the Bears at home. The Bears, I mean, if you watched any of last night's game, that was god-awful. It was so bad. You're going to need the Bears to really stink on ice that day for Jacksonville to go win that game. Because, again, I would point this out. The Jets' schedule is so tough that if they lose one game, they actually lose more than one spot. They fall into that second spot. They don't just, lose the game. They lose the first overall pick. Even if they and Jacksonville have one win apiece, Jacksonville will get it because their schedule is softer than the Jets. So you got 5 left. Las Vegas, at Seattle, at the Rams, Cleveland, at New England. Guys, I told you a few weeks ago, Belichick was not super duper trying to win that game on that Monday night. Don't be shocked if it's the same case again. Don't be shocked. In that week 17, if they have no chance at doing anything, they will absolutely not play everybody. Absolutely. I mean, that's a man who's tried drop kicks with Doug Flutie in week 17, if memory serves. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. Open lines. Let's hit him. Tyler is in Connecticut next. Tyler, you're on 98.7 ESPN.
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me on the show.
You got it.
I just got to say, man, I'm sitting here listening. How pitiful of a conversation is this of really waiting for the Jets to tank the season? And if I was this kid Lawrence, I mean, I would not come out of college. I mean, he made such a lobby for the SEC to suit up and play this year, you know, amid all the COVID, chaos that's going on. And, if I were him, I really would just, stay at home. What I really wanted to say is that the Jets, unfortunately, I've been a season ticket holder for the past 5 years. They are just a third-tier team. I mean, I'd go as far as to say that they're like a farm team. The way that they draft first-round picks and spit them out, and the way that they chew quarterbacks up and spit them out, it's tough. It's tough to watch. I want to continue being a Jets fan and, continue buying season tickets, but it's tough. It's tough, man.
I get it. I absolutely understand where you're coming from, and you're well within your rights to feel that way. I mean, how else would you possibly feel when you look at what the results have been of all those players over the years? Now, the one thing I would tell you, and it's one thing that nobody with the Jets ever wants to hear, meaning the fans, and that's you got a new guy running the show. And he might have made a couple of moves this year that you didn't love, but I don't know how you can look at this draft class that just came from this past year and not be excited about it, because seemingly the majority of them are playing well or getting better. Even Ashton Davis is getting better. So I feel pretty good about all of that being the case. And I get it, Tyler. You want to be annoyed. You want to not trust them. They haven't given you a reason to trust them. It's building equity. The Jets have not built equity. It's like a bank account, right? How many literally and figuratively, how many deposits have you made? And how many withdrawals have you been able to make? Every time you go to that ATM looking for some sort of happiness out of it, what comes up? We're out of money. Try Spec Monday. We'll see where we're at. 800-919-3776. Mark in Syosset next. Mark, what's going on, dude?
Hey, Carlin, how are you, pal?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm all right. So, other than getting depressed with all this jet talk.
I know.
I know, but it helps us. So I'm glad you're doing it. Thank you. But Donald, I don't know. The kid gloves that this kid gets handled with is crazy. I mean, yeah, I know Gates is a moron, right? But it's the coach. He doesn't have his weapons. It's this, it's that. How about it's just him? He's not it. He's not the answer. He's not the first round quarterback not to be it. So it's time to move on. He's got to go.
And the other thing is this. It wouldn't even be so much he's got to go if the better option wasn't presenting itself right away. If you were in the middle of the first round and you still didn't have the answer on him, then I could see trying it out for another year. If you were going to be a 5-win team, something like that, the truth is you're not, and you have this incredible option lying in front of you. By the way, he's not going back to college. Trevor Lawrence, in fact, just took part in senior day the other day for Clemson. So he's leaving college. The big concern is going to be, is he going to say, I'm not playing for the Jets? And that's why
I don't see that happening.
I don't think it'll happen either, because I think Joe Douglas will have enough people in the right spot and the right head coach to be able to convince him that this is where he wants to be.
Well,
when you look at all they have to build around.
What do you think, head coach? You have any thoughts?
I mean, I don't see them doing something stupid like Jim Harbaugh. I don't see them. I don't, what is the big name? Is there a big name? No, not really.
No.
So I think you have to go with the guy that you feel like is going to be really smart and a good offensive coach. And I think you're probably looking at somebody like Greg Roman, who's with the Ravens. And, that's an organization that Douglas came up through and would trust somebody coming out of there, would kind of trust their pedigree there, if that makes sense. I can't sit here and tell you that he's going to be a great quarterback or a great coach. I don't know that. But I think it's somebody like that. Or, look, if you want to follow the Giants' footsteps and you find somebody that you think is extra special and a good communicator, I can tell you exactly why this is working with Joe Judge. He's a tremendous communicator, and he's a people person. Somebody who is very familiar with Joe Judge told me this months ago. The reason why he will be successful versus all the other Belichick disciples is that he will be himself, and he is a people person who can connect with players, because a special teams coach has to connect with players. Those guys are not on the football team because they want to be special teams players. You have to motivate those guys. You have to motivate them. You have to have them ready to play a role that they didn't necessarily sign up for. Ralph in Queens has an interesting thought. Ralph, what's going on, bud?
Hey, Carlin, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Ralph, how are you?
I'm good. So the thing with the Jets, you look at the Jets and the Giants a few weeks ago even, they were in a similar place. Part of the problem with the Jets is the Jets fans like you. You want to tank. You want to lose. Something about the Jets fan just likes to lose. What other team has the fans calling up saying, "Hey, let's go out there and lose this week"? You don't want to lose. You want to win. If you only get 3 wins, you only get 4 wins, you drop a few spots in the draft, it's all right. At least you have a winning attitude.
Yeah, that's fine, but no.
So what I'm saying
No,
is,
if you're going to go through, no, you don't understand the mentality here. I get where you're coming from. This whole culture stuff.
Between Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones isn't that much better than the Jets quarterback.
Yes, he is.
What the difference is the culture.
No, it isn't. It's partially the difference, but the culture is not going to be set right now when the coach is on his way out and you have gone through an absolutely miserable season and you're just praying that there is something on the other end of it that comes out of it.
It's not going to be a quarterback.
Why not?
You still need an O-line.
They have 10 picks in the draft this year and $90 million to spend. 10 draft picks, $90 million this year. 2 1s, a 2, and 2 3s. 5 in the first 3 rounds. What?
If you tank, coming into a team that has never won and doesn't even know how to win a game, no one on the whole game in 2 years.
Yeah, your argument is so flawed, and thanks for the call. And the reason is it's not understanding the mentality of the Jet fan. First of all, I'm not a Jet fan. But secondly, they're looking at this like, yes, I'm going through an incredible amount of pain. And they're actually watching these games and getting annoyed by how this team is losing. But you have to understand that they also want something good to come of it. And if it means Trevor Lawrence, they're going to be fine with it at the end. They're going to be okay with all that pain if it brings you that guy. If Trevor Lawrence becomes a Jet and you have all those picks and all that money, things can turn around relatively quickly. In a year? No. In 2? Maybe. Maybe 2 years from now. Maybe. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. Why Adam Gase is absolutely earning every dollar right now. We'll tell you about that when we come back. 98.7 ESPN. I'll tell you what, Adam Gase is something, isn't he? We'll hear from him in a second on the whole play calling bit. But, I mean, it's never just simple. It's never just, yeah, no, we did this, we didn't do that, we did this, we didn't do that. No, though. I mean, honestly, play calling for an 0-11 team has become a story for 4 weeks. Easy, if not longer. I mean, I am tired of hearing about Patton Oswalt calling the plays. That's exactly who Dowell Loggins looks like. He's a Patton Oswalt clone. Like, if he got out of work, he could go reboot the King of Queens. He could absolutely do that. At any rate, I'm so tired of hearing about it. Here's the thing. I don't care, because whoever is calling the plays is really bad at it, and that has been consistent throughout. That has been the case for quite some time. There is absolutely no inventiveness in what they do. How about fourth down? Let's give the ball to Frank Gore. Straight up and down. Oh, my Lord. Everybody knows what's coming, for Pete's sake. Everybody. So, in essence, if you are hoping to get the number 1 overall pick, I have come across this idea a few weeks ago, and now I absolutely believe it's fact. I think Adam Gase is still the coach and will continue to be the coach through the end of the year to ensure that the Jets lose every single game. And to them right now, that is actually earning your money. It is. For him, it's earning his money. Because if we know we're getting rid of you anyway, we may as well get something out of you. If you are just that bad, let's capitalize on your strengths. Let's try to make as much as we can out of what you do well. It's like I always talk about with Bill Belichick, right? When he looks at his players and he says, I'm not going to worry about what you can't do. I'm going to worry about what you're good at, and I'm going to put you in position to do that. Well, that's what the Jets are doing right now with Adam Gase. They know he is not good at winning football games, so they don't ask him to do that. They know he is outstanding at losing football games, at being a bad head coach, and right now that's exactly what they need in every facet. They need a bad football team, they need a bad head coach, so that they can accomplish their goal at this point of the year, and that is ensuring they have the number 1 pick. And on Black Monday, he'll be gone, and frankly, if they finish 0-16, yeah, he'll get paid for next year already, but they should kick him a few extra bucks. Congratulations on a job done. 800-919-3776. Let's go to Russell on the car phone next. Russell, what's cooking?
Hey, good evening. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to put a hypothetical out there. Let's say it's week 17 and the Patriots are mathematically eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the Jets still haven't won a game. And if you suspect Belichick's going to rest players, at what point do you think the GM maybe steps in and says, you know, we're going to shut Sam down, we're going to shut Quinnen down, because they very well could win that Week 17 game.
Sam's shoulder will start to feel a little bit sore. They will absolutely not let them win that game. They will not let that Jet football team win that game, meaning Joe Douglas and company. If they're sitting there at 0-15 and they know what Belichick's going to do, and you know Belichick's going to do it, do you think there's any chance in hell that Cam Newton's going to play that game? Any chance? Do you think there's any chance in hell that Jarrett Stidham doesn't start that game for the New England Patriots? Of course he does.
Yeah,
and it's going to be under the excuse of we need to look toward the future and figure out what we have. No, Jarrett Stidham's bad, and they're going to put him out there to be bad to stick it to the Jets. It's just an added bonus for them. I don't think there's any question, and I think that you need to start formulating what your fake injuries are going to be right now.
Well, hopefully Joe Douglas is cognizant enough to realize what's on the line. Trevor Lawrence is a once-in-a-generational quarterback. I know Justin Fields is pretty good in his own right, and that would be a pretty good consolation prize. But from what I'm seeing, Trevor Lawrence is a real deal. So hopefully the Jets don't mess this one up. Thank you.
I agree. I think they're both the real deal, frankly. But more than anything, Belichick, it's the hatred of the Jets, but it's also understanding how good Lawrence is and not wanting him to be in the division. Now, granted, Bill is not going to be around for 15 years, but does anybody think he's not going to be around for the next 5? I think he probably will be. I think Bill is going to do everything he can to keep the Jets from being good for as long as possible. Now, granted, most of the time, they have not needed his help. They have not needed his help. They've been able to do that all on their own. A couple of comments from the live stream. This from Zach. They need to lose out because Jacksonville won't win again. I went through it before. The only game that we would have some hope on Jacksonville winning would be against the Bears at home. Would be against the Bears at home. So, yes, you do need to do what you can. And you can sit here and say that Gay should have been gone early in the year, but right now, he's doing the job, people. Lonnie in Long Island is next. Lonnie, what's going on, dude? Lonnie! Oh, Lonnie. Lonnie called back. Jaquan Parsippany next on 98.7 ESPN. Jaquan, what's going on?
What's going on, Chris, man? Love the show. Love the show. I just had to give it to you, brother. You was absolutely right about Sam Darnold. I was holding out on it just a little bit, like how maybe he gets all his weapons back. The dude's not it, man. And you just look what Joe Flacco did. It's like I'd rather see Joe Flacco. At least I get to see what Mims can be. See if Herndon can prove himself in the last few weeks. But Sam ain't it, man. There's no confidence there. It's just I don't know if they're sabotaging him. Like what's going on with him and Gates. But Adam Gates makes Jeff Fisher look like Andy Reid, man. He's that terrible. I guess you're right. Just let them stay there, finish up their job, and just get us on the 16. Because, like you said, I don't trust Bill Belichick with that. I don't trust Bill at all if the Patriots are out of contention. And just let them finish, man. But we gotta. I don't know. I don't want to lose Trevor Lawrence. I don't think Trevor Lawrence stays in school regardless. He's coming out of the draft regardless. But it's disgusting, man. But Sam ain't it.
It's awful. Sam is not it.
He's not it. He's just not it, bro.
And I'm sorry for him because I think he could win in the right situation, Jaquan, and thanks for the call. The problem is that situation has to be perfect. And he's one of those guys in that third tier who can be a decent quarterback when he has enough talent, and you can win with him when he has enough talent around him. Jimmy Garoppolo last year was pretty good, and that was because he had a ton of talent around him. I don't want to put him in the Rex Grossman category. That was bad. He's not Trent Dilfer. That was bad. Jake Delhomme, maybe. Brad Johnson, maybe. Kerry Collins, maybe. Yeah, I think he's right there with all of those guys. And when you have a chance to get the Hall of Famer, a guy that's got that potential, you have to go and do it. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. Carlin with open lines on 98.7 ESPN. We continue in just a bit. We get to the Giants as well and exactly why winning the division does not necessarily mean all good things. What am I talking about? You'll find out in a bit. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.
You are down.
All right.
That fast rolling jackpot for Fast Play Progressive.
Guys, is the volume better over there? Are you getting better volume on the live stream? I saw your notes that you weren't on the callers. Hopefully that's a little bit better now. Have at it. Give me some of your other comments here. Steve. Damn, I was checking to see if my screen froze, and then Chris pops up on the screen out of nowhere, scared the crap out of me. Understandable. Jarv, it's only 5 more games of pain for the Jet fans, then the future is bright. Lawrence, top draft picks, heaps of cap room. Totally agree on all of that, bud. That's so accurate. That's so 100% accurate. Zach, callers are better. Got to get to some of the tweets. A lot of people on Twitter not too thrilled with one of my takes regarding the second and third tier quarterbacks, and not necessarily about where Sam belongs, because I think we're all clear on that, but more so about where, I have Kurt Warner on the second tier of, the all-time great quarterbacks. And Kurt Warner is not Brady, Manning, Mahomes. He's excellent, very good quarterback, not there for long enough, and, a guy that you could win with and was very, very good and had an all-time great season. But, don't get mad when I compare him with Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan's won an MVP as well. So let's not get nuts on that. But the grand point is this, that Sam belongs in this level of quarterback that is third tier that you can win with if everything around him is perfect. On Twitter, a couple of people checking in, at Chris Carlin. Smith checking in. Just go see Tannehill. Same things when Gase was the coach, and he's never been any good. Tennessee loves Gase now. Well, listen, Tannehill has gone there and has been much better. And, the Gase case can no longer be made. RWL, putting Kurt Warner in the same sentence as Matt Ryan and Cam Newton has to be one of the most ridiculous comparisons ever. You seem to have no concept as to how to judge athletes. Well, Cam won an MVP, went to a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan won an MVP, went to a Super Bowl. Kurt won a Super Bowl and went to 2 others. Great player. Great player. Those 2 guys in their prime are great players too. Sean, you left an S off Manning's. I did not, Sean. Eli is that second tier of great quarterbacks. He's not in the same level as Brady, Manning, Mahomes, all that. And granted, I only fit onto Twitter what you guys saw, what I could fit, the 280 characters. Like Alan Zidrick said, there's this guy named Aaron for the first group. Yeah, I know that Aaron Rodgers is on that level. Kevin Michelson says, I am being very generous to Sam with this placement. Very generous. Wow. Wow. I mean, I thought I'm being accurate with Sam. I think that's what Sam can be. And I think that's absolutely fair. RMVT checks in. In my opinion, there are some better names in that third tier. Eli Manning comes to mind. Now, I'm putting Eli in the second tier. As he says, nobody wants to admit it. Like, you can't have Eli in the first tier. We all know that. 800-919-3776. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN. Lonnie in Long Island is back. Lonnie, what the hell happened?
Yes, I'm here, Chris. How are you?
I'm good, Lonnie. What do you got?
Oh, good. Well, hey, we saw Sam Darnold yesterday. And I'm going to tell you, I've seen enough from Sam Darnold 3 years. He's not the answer. We got the real deal coming. Trevor Lawrence is the real deal. We just have to get him. But he's not coming if Gase is there. I pray Gase cannot be there. We can't. They have to do something with him. He's not coming.
Well, Gase is not going to be here. You don't have to worry about that, Lonnie. Gase is going to be gone. There is no case to be made to keep the head coach.
Trevor Lawrence is better than Sam Darnold right now.
Of course.
Right now, he's better.
I don't disagree. Of course he is. All of this is true. Goodbye, Lonnie. Lonnie, come on. Come on. Bring material. Actually have it together. Come on. Let's hear some Gase from earlier. I want to hear Gase on the whole play calling thing because you got to love Rich Cimini, who just got right after it about the play calling. Here's Gase on who's calling the plays.
Adam, why did you take over the play calling?
I didn't take over. We did this. We've done the same thing the last 4 games.
We were watching Dowell for the whole game. He wasn't doing anything. I mean, he was just standing there.
He tells me it's not hard. This is not hard. We go through it the drive before. Hey, these are the 3 plays. I do the third downs.
So what happens after the 3 plays when you have a series? Because we were watching one where Dowell was talking to Frank Pollock. He wasn't calling the plays. You were.
What part of the game was it?
I want to say that was the third.
Yeah, when we got down, then I was trying to do some of the 2-minute stuff.
Oh, my God. Seriously, why bother? And then earlier today, he's like, well, it wasn't full on. He was trying to explain it later on, and it really did not come together. I mean, jeez. Well, why bother? Like, why are you lying about it? Because it's very clear you're not being truthful about the situation. We're not idiots. I mean, when you see the sideline, and on every play, you've got that stupid red pen, and you're talking, we could see your mouth moving through the mask, and Dowell Loggins is off in the corner getting water for somebody. I mean, come on. Don't try to sell me that he gave you all 3 plays 10 minutes earlier. No, that's crap, and you know it. How stupid. See, that's the thing about Gase, that he will never get the benefit of the doubt from anybody outside the building, from the media, from any of that, because he constantly treats you as if you're a moron and you know nothing about football. Now, granted, do people know as much about football outside the building as Adam Gase does? I can guarantee you we don't. I guarantee you we don't. But we do know when someone's lying to us, and we do know awful football when we see it. So when you want to go and lie about it, like, what's the point, Adam? What is the ever-loving point? Just say I took it back. Yeah, I was calling the plays today. We're trying everything we can right now to try to win games, even though that's not what's going on. He should have just said, yeah, I took it back because we are trying to lose. And frankly, my lack of inventiveness in calling plays was what was deemed necessary for today. I mean, did you guys see Frank Gore on 4th down and 1? When America knew we were going to give them the ball, when we did nothing in any kind of formation or motion to hide any of it? Did you see that? Do you think just anybody can do that? Do you know how much skill it takes to be this awful at coaching? Do you have any idea? Wow. That's why he'll never get the benefit of the doubt, because he treats everybody else like they're idiots. When you act as if you are the smartest guy in the room and you're not, that's a problem. He may be the smartest guy in the room, but give me the guy that wants to surround himself with the smarter people. That guy knows what he's doing. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN. Why the Giants winning the division may not be a good thing. That's next.
You're down, Chris.
They're bustling with activity.
All right.
Handle it all with Happy Honda Days.